Since the beginning of the pandemic, data reporter David Montgomery with NPR News has learned a lot from numbers and graphs.
There's no one metric that tells the whole story of COVID.
Montgomery has tracked all the metrics available from the Minnesota Health Department: new cases, tests, positive test rate, hospitalizations, deaths, and more. As new COVID-19 cases continue to fall since late November, Montgomery feels confident now, more than 2 weeks after Thanksgiving, to say
There's absolutely no sign of a direct trend-changing impact from Thanksgiving gatherings here in Minnesota.
that doesn't mean no one contracted COVID-19 while spending the holiday with family.
This doesn't mean that cases might not have fallen even more without Thanksgiving.
But unlike other states, Minnesota does not appear to have a direct surge resulting from Thanksgiving. Health department officials are more reserved in their analysis, saying they worry about an indirect surge, meaning someone who did get infected spreading it to many more people, and those numbers showing up later. Montgomery's graphs show the positive test rate continues to drop as well, meaning the drop in new cases isn't just the result of fewer people taking COVID-19 tests. Perhaps the most optimistic take from the data journalist is that at the current rate the new cases are falling, by Christmas Eve, Minnesota could be down to 1,500 new cases a day, the lowest since mid-October.
So we'd be sort of back to where we were before the surge.
Montgomery says he is still waiting for the number of deaths per day from COVID-19 to begin decreasing to show our current COVID-19 surge is completely on the downswing. Lou Raguse, KARE 11 News.